Hi, Mark Kerrigan back here, again with Dr. Michael Giammatteo. We're fortunate enough to have the time with you again tonight, Doctor. Doctor, I would love to hear a little bit more, now that we've been speaking for a while, a little bit more about your experience as a doctor in Italy and about some of the experience you had with different types of water and healing. Because, you know, right now, you know, this is a very big topic, especially in the United States. You know, there's talk about you know, the insurance companies here in the United States, you know, they have a vested interest in keeping us sick, right, with the pharmaceuticals and all this. But you had a different philosophy in Italy, didn't you?
The philosophy in Italy is very simple. You get paid by how well you keep the people. So you can either have a preventive approach where you teach well-being, like good water, raw foods when and where possible, socialization, a batch of the things that contribute. And Dr. Franco Vazella, the physician in charge of the Longevity Center, I was the co-director, it's in Bologna, Italy. Oh, hey, man, I gotta tell you this. The name of the place, oh, I like to freak out. It's called Casa de Cura. And it's in a place called Villaba. And you're cured just listening to the name of where you're going.
Sounds good.
You know, it's great. But anyhow, on the bed sores, they were putting the 2.5, same kind of water.
So that's acidic water, right? 2.5,
Right,
that's pH, right?
Yeah.
2.5 pH.
And when on bed sores,
Really?
so you can use it for dermatological reactions.
Ah.
The other thing is with this type of water, you can use it for a precursor to setting the stage to not getting diabetes.
Really?
Yeah.
Now there are so many people with diabetes all around the world. How in the world does water help somebody with diabetes?
Okay, you flush out the system, that's the first thing.
Okay.
But the other thing is, all through your body, Mark, you're made up of tremendous amounts of water passage systems. Okay. Muscles. When you're a little baby, you're 80% to 90% water.
Really?
Yeah, it's a wonder you don't just float out of it. Who is that kid swimming, you know? And all of a sudden you realize, my God, as you age, the water diminishes. And if the water diminishes, instead of you having free movement, it's like, you know, some people move like that, then you see, you know.
More stiff and rigid.
Yeah, rigid. So, you know.
So people don't have to become stiff and rigid as they age?
A nice stiff and rigid look.
No, you don't look stiff and rigid.
Oh,
that's probably part of why I thought you were so much younger.
Well, age, okay, age is partially attitude.
Okay.
But the other is well-being. And the Longevity Center focused on well-being. One of the things, as I said, is socialization. The second is balance. People get clumsy as they age, you know.
Okay.
We're trying to watch, you know, like, and you go, my God.
People on a walker or something.
Yeah. Anyhow, you brought up something during the break. You talked about healthcare. Most cultures, water's good, raw food's good, friendship, socialization, all good. But the one thing you need is the emotional, financial security of knowing you aren't going to become medically homeless. The average American, I was on the board for the homeless in 1988, 89, and we had some pretty good sized movie stars with us. Okay. We had to raise $21.8 million to give away $8 million.
Now, why is that? That seems crazy.
Credit card adjustments, all kind of crazy stuff. But the point was, we gave it to people who were newly homeless. We taught them how to write resumes, have a place where phone could get them.
Sure.
You know, once you get away from La La Land, like the single destination resort communities, they don't know there's a depression on out there. And I'm old enough to have lived through the first one. But
okay.
These basic things like healthcare, knowing it's there. Oh my God. Can you imagine?
It's like a peace of mind, isn't there?
Oh yeah. It's when you're in a relationship with another human, emotional, financial safety. You're not going to hurt them.
So,
you know
so this is an Italian philosophy, is that right? Like a way that at least the Italian government has chosen to.
The Italian government, they send a person around to check on your blood pressure.
Really?
Your sugar.
And how much does that cost?
It costs so much less than emergency room as the normal doctor's office. You follow that? In other words, People wait and use the emergency room, and that's the doctor's office in many places in the United States of America.
But isn't it too late by then in many cases? I mean, not for necessarily for death, but the problems have become so serious, you know, so acute.
And in a country this big with so many resources, it's criminal. I helped write part of something called Parent-Child Centers, where we taught parenting, and at 11 o'clock in the morning we'd cook food to teach the people that lived in the ghettos how to eat good, drink good water, all this stuff.
Wow.
And someone from the State Department came down and said, "You are in a restaurant." I said, "No, that's why we're teaching cooking at 11. And we have to taste it at 11:30. And so when you have to get around the law to make people well, to help people. But everything you guys are talking about, and again, fresh food, which would be really hard to get.
Fresh food. Because
shelf life is important. When you take something from one coast to the next coast, I don't care how fast the plane is, food has mold. If you put an orange or an apple on your windowsill, what's it going to look like? A 190-year-old guy the next day, right? Yeah. So what do they inject there?
So they put things in the fruits.
Of course they do.
Oh my
And
gosh.
that's why it doesn't mold. You say, how long has that apple been there? What century is this?
Wow.
About 10 years.
So our foods are not the safe foods that our parents ate, right? They're not the same basic foods that they ate. Wow.
So it can
It's
look
quite different.
as, and it may not be as.
Wow.
A tomato may not be a tomato. I just field tested one the other day, Sonny.
Yeah.
I got a tomato and I put it out on my counter, and day one I'm looking at it. If it was a real tomato, it would, kind of squish it in. But this, it just kept looking back.
It's still strong.
Plump, yeah, and I go, oh, you little round bugger,
Got
So
it. One of those Franken tomatoes.
Well, and, the point is, the food we're getting is not real food.
Sure.
And then you
So
go
various qualities of food depending where we're getting it. Is that
So
right? Is that what I'm
what you
hearing?
can control is at least you can control your water
Okay,
intake.
so we can control the type of water that we're having.
Yeah.
And just to recap here, we're having ionized
I
alkaline
recommend
water.
ionized type water.
Right.
And-
And what do you consider the benefit, as a doctor speaking from your professional experience, what is the real benefit of alkaline ionized water as opposed to just bottled water that everybody's drinking today?
Well, the benefit starts with the concept of the breakdown of the water. As I said, the molecules in regular water don't get readily absorbed.
Okay.
And in this water, they're made smaller. You break them apart.
So they'll go into your cells, is it?
They'll go into your system easier.
Into your system.
The other thing that happens is when you're drinking water, remember, for every 20 pounds, you better take a glass of water, big glass.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Every day?
Every day.
Wow. And here, we're living in the desert here, and I bet we need to have a little bit more. Is that right?
Yeah,
Depending on the climate?
because when you sweat or cry or anything that brings water out of you, you don't have to replace that. You have to replace the natural evaporative process. That's why you cool off if you've taken a shower, if you go swimming. But none of that hydrates you. You have to take water, and it has to be such that it's internalized.
Got it.
Now, you wrote a book about inside, outside. I don't know if you're... But this is an inside,
I didn't
outside
write about
thing.
water yet.
Okay, outside, look up in the air. Fault influences. If you just looked up in the air, you can almost see the air in Los Angeles, right?
Right, that's true.
All right, that's a fault influence. And your body's under stress. Even if you say, I'm not stressed, you're stressed, man. Okay, then there's what? So they're airborne things.
Okay, airborne
Like
pollutants.
chemtrails,
Sure.
like smoke, like fire,
Yeah, we call that the LA smog.
Yeah, or the
Yes.
Phoenix smog.
Oh, the
depending on
Phoenix
which way they're
smog, or the
coming,
New York smog. There's all over the
Okay,
place.
so those are airborne. Then you got foodborne, pesticides, herbicides, insecticides.
Okay.
Then you've got bioelectrical, electromagnetic borne. They're out there. You've got to be an idiot to think that a cell phone isn't harmful to you.
Sure.
If you put four of them together, one of the studio audience, we went down to Oceans High, California, to look at where they're preparing things that diffuse the electronic signal coming out of a cell phone.
Right. Well, it's becoming a business.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Well, on that thought, let's take a break right now. We're going to come back and talk about some solutions to this. Would that be great?
You got it.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll see you in a moment.